Hey guys, I'm finally back. I'm sorry that it's taken so long to get another video out. Nursing school started, and if you know, you know. I've also been dealing with a lot of personal stuff, so I haven't really sat down and wanted to reflect on the past. The title of this video is, pretty explanatory. This is what I strongly feel happened to me. There's a lot of stuff that goes with it, which I'll talk about, but yeah. So, and if you see me looking down, it's because I have a whole bunch of notes. Just because the whole ovarian cancer was so long ago compared to lymphoma. So I just wanted to make sure that I hit everything. Okay, so and I'm gonna be very transparent with you guys this video, so sorry mom, maybe you don't watch it, I don't know. Okay, so let's start in 2012. I was in a serious relationship. We were living together and trying to start our lives together, things like that. So in 2012, around December, I had a miscarriage. I was 7 weeks pregnant, and that's when I miscarried. So I really was not worried about birth control or anything like that, because I had just started being sexually active. Sorry mom. During high school, I wasn't, I was pretty much a virgin until 18, 19. And so birth control was an issue for me. And I would go to the gynecologist because my mom would ask them hey, does she need a pap smear, stuff like that. And they would say no, not until she's sexually active or turns 21. This is 2012. A lot's changed since then. But I had the okay, so I started my period when I was 9 years old. It was super early. It was hell from then on. I had the worst periods. They were super heavy. I knew that something wasn't right then, but I was always a bigger girl, so they would always say yeah, that can happen. Or my mom would be yeah, my periods used to be so heavy. Or my aunt, she would be yeah, that's why I got a hysterectomy, stuff like that. And so I just thought it was a genetic thing, and I mean, but it was miserable. When I was down, I was down. And so I would say around I don't know, I played sports all through high school, so I would say probably 15, 16, whenever I started being super active playing sports. And my periods would be super weird, and I was I'm not having sex, I know I'm not pregnant, but they would just come every now and then. So we told basically our family doctor that I'm pretty sure I saw a pediatrician until I was 18, so what did he know? But we told him, and he was yeah, that can happen if you're super active. And okay, yeah, okay. It's not I'm running marathons or anything like that. I was just playing sports. I was still a chunky girl, whatever. So they basically said, oh, you probably have polycystic ovarian syndrome. And I was what's that? It's where you get cysts on your ovaries, and that's why you can't lose weight. You get darkening around your face. You can have a lot of body hair. So I didn't really have any of those symptoms except a really heavy period here and there, and then super bad, painful periods. So they were oh, it's probably cyst rupturing or whatever. So I just believed them all the way until I decided to go to the gynecologist myself. And so yeah, I went to the gynecologist. So let's say And I had a miscarriage in December of 2012. Did all that, like, then I was like, well, I don't really want to have a kid right now. I have a lot of big dreams, a lot of plans. Like, if you know me, I have always wanted to be a surgeon. Like, going to med school was my dream. I knew since I was probably a little girl that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to help people in any way. The heart's always been my thing, so cardiothoracics was, it just intrigues me so much. Like, I'm just in it. I was in it so much, and you know, so I graduated high school in 2011, and that was my dream. But I ended up, like, getting in this serious relationship, and so yeah. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling here. I'm trying to, like, get the timeline down. So I want to say that after the miscarriage, I started taking the pill. It was like a very low dose of, I can't even remember what it was, like maybe like low estrogen E or something like that. And it was like a very low dose of hormones. They said like it would help my periods and wouldn't be as painful. And I was like, okay, well, I'm 19 years old, you know, pretty much drinking, partying still all the time. And you know, I was working, and so I like rarely took the pill. It wasn't working for me. I still had very irregular periods. Like, it wasn't making me have a period every month. Like, if you take that pill right during those sugar pills, you should have a period. Well, I wasn't. So I was like, what's going on? What's going on? So I just kind of like kept asking her, like, do I need to have a pap smear? You know, I obviously am sexually active. And she's like, no, we wait till 21 now. Okay, so I'm like 19. All right, still waiting until I'm 21. Never had a pap smear. Never once. I don't even think I had a pelvic exam. Nothing. And so, yeah, they give me the pill. I take it half-assed. It is just what it is. Being honest here, I never like to take meds. So in 2014, I want to say like around February, I was like, this pill is not working for me. Like, I'm ready to go back to school. I had actually got a really, really good medical internship in Spain. So like, I applied for it probably December of 2013, and we got accepted around February, and we started the program in June. So February, I was like, yeah, I gotta, you know, like, you know, make sure like nothing happens, like I don't get pregnant or anything. So I went in and I was like, I want the Mirena. So they said, you don't have any periods with the Mirena. You know, it's 5 years of birth control. And I was like, that's a really good timeline. Like, I never wanted to get married till I was like 23, and I wanted to have kids by 27. You know how like in your head you plan out your entire life. Don't do that. God will be like, huh, funny girl, funny. So I got the Mirena. They should have explained it more to me. The Mirena is a hormonal like IUD. So it goes implanted in your uterus. Not implanted. No, that is not what you want it to do. It goes inserted through your cervix into your uterus so that you can't get pregnant. It can implant into your uterus. You don't want that. So yeah, I got that. They should have told me like all the rules, like, we normally don't do this unless you have a kid, have had a kid before, blah blah blah. And they didn't tell me anything. They were just like, okay, yeah, you have good, I mean, that's a good rule. Like, that's a good reasoning. Like, you don't want to have kids for a couple years. Like, you're going to go to med school and stuff like that. It's perfect reasoning. I should have done more research. Again, at this point, in 2014, I was like 20, 21. So obviously then I had like a pelvic exam. They didn't do a pap smear, it was just a pelvic exam. So they did a pelvic exam and gave me the Mirena. That was the worst experience I've ever had in my entire life. The worst. Like, worse than a miscarriage, like feeling all that, like, worst thing ever. I don't know, like, I had the worst cramps after. Like, anytime I would have sex after, super painful. Like, couldn't handle it. I was like, I called them, you know, weeks later. They were like, not even weeks later, probably a week later. And I was like, this is not gonna work for me. Like, is this normal? Like, what's happening? And they were like, yeah, this is normal. Give it some time. Like, you know, it's a foreign object in your body that, you know, your uterus isn't used to. So just give it a little time. And I'm like, sure, I'll just be in fetal position all the time. Sure. So I gave it like a month or two, and I called them and I was like, this has got to get out of me. Like, you've got to take it out. It was like the worst. Like, and they literally said no. They were like, no, because then your hormones will be crazy, and like we don't recommend, like, you need to give it 6 months. No. I did not give it 6 months. Let's just say, I don't recommend this for anyone, but let's just say that I handled it myself. I took care of it myself because they would not take it out, and it was the worst thing ever. And my sister-in-law, the exact same thing happened to her. Like, anytime, like, the Mirena gave her so many problems, and she had kids before. She had actually, she had one kid before she got the Mirena, and then, like, it caused her so many issues. Like, she also got it removed, after talking to me, of course. So let's just say, like, I think, like, I'm trying to look here what I wrote down. Maybe I got it taken out in May of 2014, so February to May is how long it lasted. And then, so I went on my Spain trip. We spent about a month in Spain. I got an internship at the Azores, which is the Canary Islands in Tenerife, Spain. Beautiful, most incredible experience of my life. If you are interested in med school or nursing school or nurse practitioner, PA, whatever, you should really apply with the Atlantis Project. They changed my life. Obviously, things happen, and I'm not going to med school, but we'll get into that later. It has nothing to do with them. Like, it was the best experience I've ever had. I got to scrubbing it over probably, 50 surgeries over a month of each and every specialty. It was just incredible. And to see healthcare from a different perspective was even more incredible. The culture, obviously by my accent, y'all can probably tell that I'm from the South. So just like experiencing like me being in a foreign country with no one that I knew, because like 300 people apply, but only like 16 people get in. So I was very lucky that I got in, and they become like some of your best friends, but of course you don't know them. So in the beginning you're like, I'll have a bollo bocadillo. Like, that's all I knew how to order, is like a chicken sandwich. And I lived off that. Like, I was starving. I wanted hot Cheetos. Like, I just wanted something. And everything was just so different there. But yeah, one of the best experiences of my life. But, so, I started noticing really bad pelvic pain in Spain. We walked a lot, so I was like, oh, maybe it's just that. Like, I'm not used to this. We probably walked like 3 miles a day, because you had to go to the train and then ride the train, walk around the hospital. Like, Spain is small. The streets are small. They don't really have cars because, again, the streets are so small. So everybody walks everywhere. That's why they're so skinny. They eat a lot, like, but they walk everywhere, so they're so skinny. When my mom picked me up from the airport, she was like, oh my God, you've lost so much weight. I was like, I'm starving. Get me a cheeseburger. No, I'm not kidding. That's really what happened. So, like, I started noticing pains there, and, also, like, once my Mirena was removed, I never got a period back. Like, my period never returned at all. I noticed that I got, like, super, super depressed, which I battled depression through high school. I lost a couple of friends, in high school as far as, like, car accidents and to suicide, and it was it was hard. I also, whenever I was a freshman in high school, my dad passed away, my biological father, and he was never really present in my life, but it wasn't really his choice. Like, my mom, she kept me away from the family and everything like that. It was just her decision, and, you know, I was a kid, so I'd, you know, listen. But, so he passed away, and it was from cancer. So, like, I was a freshman in high school. I was just sad that, like, you know, I never really got to see my dad or really, like, be around him. And it was, like, all of a sudden them telling me, like, hey, your dad passed away, and it was cancer, and, you know. So I didn't, like, nobody thought anything of it. You know, he had a drug problem, and he also, you know, whatever. But so I thought, you know, maybe that could have been the reason, like, oh, he got cancer or whatever. Like, you know, I didn't think anything of it. Like, my family didn't think anything of it. So once I got home from Spain, it was, like, around the end of August, and I remember, like, driving back to, like, so I flew out of Houston, the international airport, and I remember driving home. It's, like, 3 hours away, and I had to pull over on the side of the road, because I was in, like, doubled over pelvic pain. And I was like, oh my God, like, what if I got some kind of bacteria infection over there? You know, they say, like, only drink bottled water. We partied a lot in Spain. Pretty sure I ate the worm a couple times, so tequila is not my thing anymore. So I was like, what if I, like, got into something, like, and, like, now I have, like, all these gastro issues, like, what is going on? Because, like, the pain was worse than when I had the Mirena. And so I'm like, something's happening. So, you know, I'm, like, getting back, I get back home, I get into the swing of things. And so this is August. I think I went back to work. Yeah, I did. I went back to work. I worked at the hospital. And, you know, I was just happy to be back home, and, you know, I hadn't seen, like, my boyfriend at the time, you know, in a month. It was, like, good to be home, get back in the swing of things, like, and I think that I had started school in August, like, like, I came back right before school started. So, you know, I was trying to get school done and everything like that. Well, I think, like, once it went by, like, it ended up being, like, around October, like, the middle of October, maybe towards the end, and I was like, I can't handle it anymore, and I finally, like, made an appointment with, like, an OBGYN, like, and I was like, I'm 21, I have been 21 for, like, months now. I turned 21 in March, and this is October, so I'm like, I need to get checked out, like, something's going on, like, whether I have endometriosis, like, whatever, it needs to get checked out. So yeah, I made an appointment with the OBGYN. I wasn't nervous or anything. I just went there, and I wanted to be like, hey, this is what's going on, like, I'm miserable, like, a lot of times I can't eat, like, it's just physical pain, like I'm doubled over in pain and in the fetal position. So I see the doctor. She's super nice, super thorough. She's like, yeah, we're gonna get you checked out. Like, we're gonna actually do a pap smear in the office today. You know, make sure like you don't have any STDs, which unless my man was cheating on me, there would have been no reason for me to have an STD. But I was like, okay, yeah, we'll do that. And so she's like, let's go ahead and do like an ultrasound. And I'm like, okay. So again, super like naive, never had anything like this done. So I had to get like a transvaginal ultrasound. Like, if you know what I'm saying, like it's the one that goes inside of you, not like outside when you have a baby. I was not prepared for that. There's like this giant screen across from me, and like the sonographer, she's like super nice, and she's like, have you ever had this before? I'm like, no. And she like gets out a condom and like puts it on this thing. I'm like, what is that? Like, and so she's like, this is a transvaginal ultrasound. And I was like, okay, like I'm in so much pain, like there's no way I want that to happen. And so she like does her own thing, starts clicking, taking pictures, whatever, and I'm just over here like dealing with the pain because like she's in my organs, it feels like. And yeah, so she like finishes and she like walks out and she's like, hey, I'll be right back, just, you know, stay there, make yourself comfortable. And I was like, okay, you know, didn't know anything was gonna happen. Next thing I know, like, she brings like the actual physician in, and the physician actually redoes the exam. And I'm like, okay, can we please quit now? So I knew something was up because, like, I didn't think that I knew the doctors, like, read the ultrasounds afterwards, but I didn't know why she was coming to do it. And so I was like, you know, my heart rate started, like, going up then. I was freaking out. I was like, something's not right. So she's like, okay, get dressed and, you know, I'll meet you back in the regular room or whatever, the consultation room. So she meets me back and she's like, so what's your plans tomorrow? And I was like, nothing, like I think I'm off. And she's like, can you be here at 9 a.m. and have a driver? And I was like, why? She says, I need to do a biopsy of your ovary because there's a mass in your ovary. And I was like, a mass, like a cyst? And she's like, no, they look different. And she's like, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference, but this doesn't look right, doesn't look normal. Like, from the phases of, like, and at this point, I had not had a period for, like, months. And she's like, it doesn't look right. And I was like, okay. So I, like, didn't tell anyone at all. No one. I showed up the next day at 9 a.m. I was like, yeah, I got a driver. And she, like, gave me, I think it was like a Valium before to take. I said I took it, but I didn't take it just because I knew I was driving myself home. But afterwards, I wish I would have taken it. So they like did the biopsy. It wasn't terrible, but it like wasn't great either. They went through my abdomen and did like a punch biopsy of the mass, and she sent me to the lab and was like, I would like to get some special labs drawn on you. And what they drew was a CA-125, which is, it basically is a marker for ovarian cancer. So I don't know exactly like what the numbers were supposed to be, like maybe something to 19 or like in the lower range. And mine was like 45 or something. And she was like, yeah, no, that's not right. This isn't good. So I did some more screening. She's like, do you have any history of like breast cancer or ovarian cancer, cervical cancer? I was like, my mom had like HPV cervical changes in her cervix. So she had, a hysterectomy right after she had my twin brothers. I know my aunt had a hysterectomy. My grandma, which is my mom's Mom, she had a hysterectomy early. But like no history of cancer other than like down the line. And so I like didn't think about it at all. Like she's like, okay, well, like I'll call you and let you know like what we find out more. Like don't worry unless you have to. So like I didn't tell anybody anything like at all. I went to work, I went to school, and I remember it was like October 23rd at like 8 o'clock at night. I was sitting on my bed in the middle of our apartment. Jonathan was at work, and I got this phone call, and it was the number from like the city of where I went to get when I saw the doctor. And I answered, and she was like, hey, this is Dr. blah blah blah, I'm sorry it's so late, but I really wanted to call you because I have not great news for you. You know, the mass on your ovary is cancerous. It's like 2.18 centimeters is what they measured it in. And this is not good. Like, it's not good at all. So she said your markers came back and it was like 45, which is really, really high. You are also BRCA positive. And I'm like, BRCA? Like, what is that? She's like, it's a genetic marker for breast and ovarian cancer, which means like if you carry the gene, you have a higher rate of getting breast and ovarian cancer. And I'm like, first of all, like my world is just like rocked. Like from the time she said cancer on, like it was just like I spaced out. It was like so I'm just sitting there like on my bed, and I was like, okay, thanks, like let me talk to my family and I'll call you. And she's like, we can get you into Texas Oncology here, like, you know, super soon, and we'll get you in to see somebody. And I'm like, I just kept saying like, okay, yeah, whatever, okay, yeah. So I tried to call my mom. She didn't answer. Anyone who knows my mom will laugh and be like, okay, that's normal. But I was freaking out. This is like 8 o'clock at night. Jonathan's at work. He didn't go on break till like, I think it was like 10 or 11. And I texted him and I was like, can you call me ASAP? And so like I was freaking out, like crying. I never cry over anything. And so I called my Aunt Jen and I told her, like, I remember she was the first person that actually heard the words out of my mouth. And I was like, they just told me I have cancer and I don't know what's going to happen. Like, you know, like, what am I going to do? Like, you know. And so I remember she was the first person I told. And, you know, after that, it was just kind of like, I guess it kind of like progressively went down the family line. I told everybody, and pretty much the recommendations were to like get a full hysterectomy. And I was like, hell no. Like, I want more than anything to be a mom. Like, I didn't have sex in high school, and I have been protecting myself so I wouldn't get pregnant. But like after this, like I just wish I would have got knocked up in high school, because like I feel like that was like robbed from me. Like if this is what they wanted me to do, like they're like, no, you got to get treatment right away. You got to have your ovaries removed. It can spread everywhere. You have this gene, and probably the Mirena that you are on, it feeds it has estrogen, so estrogen feeds cancer, and you have this gene, and that's why you probably got it, and you can't be taking any more birth control, and we've got to get this out of you. And I was like, no, like, can't you just do chemo? Like, can't we try? And they were like aggressive. And so this was October, and I didn't start any treatment until December because I was just like processing everything and trying to figure it all out. I was just like, it took me forever to even like come to terms with the fact, like, yeah, I got cancer. I was still working, going to school, doing everything normal, like nothing was wrong. I was just like, nothing's wrong, like nothing. So like I remember this super vaguely. it was like when they told me that I was like, I saw the Texas oncology people, and I see the people, and at this point, like, this is December, and I had gotten a PICC line because they were like, we need to start treatment and stuff like that. And I was going to all this stuff by myself. Like, I did not want to include anybody. I was just like, no. I've always been a very independent person, but I also didn't want to subject the people to it because, like, at one of my very first appointments, like, I could just see the wear on the family of, like, when other people were going through it. And I was like, I don't want that to, like, you know, be on my family at all. Like, there's no way I'm putting that on them. There's no way I'm putting it on Jonathan. I tried to push him away. I tried to break up with him and leave him. And actually the opposite happened, and he proposed to me, so we got engaged. That was probably, like, not the best decision, but I was, like, in a self-destruction thing at the time. I refused to get a hysterectomy, and I was like, no, you can do chemo, and I'll do that, but that's it. I want to, more than anything, to have a baby. That's my own. Like, it broke my heart. Like, I was literally heartbroken, and I remember very distinctively, I had gotten my PICC line this day, and I went into the restroom, and I was the only one in there, and I, like, looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, okay, like, I guess it's real. Like, you have cancer. It was, I don't know. I can't even explain. I mean, I guess I can explain that, like, I felt that it was so messed up. It was wrong. It was unfair. I was meant to be a mom. I don't know. Like, once I said it, like, you have cancer, you have cancer, you have cancer. You know, they say the stages of acceptance, denial, whatever. It was almost like a strength in saying it, even though I couldn't change it. It had a power that I was able to be like, okay, like, yeah. So after that, like, I knew that I was just gonna, like, fight, you know, as hard as I could. I ended up quitting my job because there was no way. Like, my immune system was so down. My treatment was the Red Devil, which they called doxorubicin. I got quite a bit of that. I think it was like 12 treatments of that. And then I took the pills Alota, and that was for like 10 months. I had ovarian drilling around the tumor so that it wouldn't spread, like, because I refused to get a hysterectomy. It's not the traditional way of treatment, but if you refuse, like, you refuse. I don't suggest it. Like, I'm not telling you what to do if you get diagnosed. I'm just saying this was my decision because this is what I wanted. So my main thing with this is, like, I strongly feel like everyone should be genetically tested. Like, you should know, like, what's going on in your family history. It's not like I was adopted or anything, so nothing, like, was on my mom's side. I made my mom go get the BRCA test, and it's what you do is you swish and spit in a cup, and they send it off. So my mom wasn't a carrier, so which means she couldn't have given it to me. So it could have been my dad, or I'm a first-time carrier. But talking to my dad's family, because I obviously contacted them and was like, look, everybody should get tested for the BRCA gene, especially all the girls. But even males can be carriers too, and males can get breast cancer too. So I told all my cousins, I was like, you guys need to go get tested. I think a few of them did, and they didn't have it. But so my dad, like, his actual cancer, it started in the pancreas, which can also be from BRCA. So we think that he was a carrier, and that's how I got the gene. But so he had pancreatic cancer, which then metastasized to the brain, the lungs, and the bones very quickly, and that's what caused him to pass away. So I didn't do any fertility preservation, anything like that, because they were like, you got to start treatment now. You know, all this stuff, like, and so, you know, I'm stubborn, I'm hard-headed, like, I did what I had to, and I think in March of 2016, I got a clear diagnosis, and I got married in January of 16, and so everything turned out fine. And then it wasn't fine. So my family was like during this whole time, like, I would say, like, the main things you should not do is, like, push your family away. Like, people in my family were even like, she's faking it because she doesn't want anybody involved and all kinds of stuff like that. Never say that to someone, like, even if they don't look sick. Like, having your own family be like, she's faking cancer, that is, like, to the throat, like, you know, breaks your heart. It kind of, like, made me build a fortress of a wall that I've never had before. Like, I was, like, protecting myself, but it was really to protect everybody else. Like, I didn't want anybody else to be involved. Like, I didn't want them to see me go through that. Like, I didn't want them to come to appointments. I didn't want them to see me puking after chemo. Like, they, you know, my little brothers at the time, I don't know, they were like 10, maybe 9, maybe even younger. And I remember, like, when I had to shave my head, and they shaved their head with me, and it was just, that was, like, hard enough. But for me, like, I was just very heartbroken, and I was, like, contemplating, like, well, I can't even, like, I had to withdraw from school, and I just couldn't, I couldn't function, like, mentally. I was super depressed. Like, I hated everybody. I hated the world. I was, like, it really affected my relationship, because I was like, why do you want to be with me? Like, I'm probably never going to be able to give you kids. Like, you don't deserve that. Like, you deserve to be with somebody who can give you kids. And it was just, it rocked my world when I say that. And I don't know, like, so my family, they wanted me to go to MD Anderson. They were like, that's the best place you can go. So I ended up coming down here. I moved here, and went to MD Anderson, and that's when they actually started me on the Xylota, which was the pills. They also didn't agree with my treatment choice, but that's what I chose to do, and just prayed about it, and you know, I got through that. And then a year later, I actually got diagnosed with lymphoma. So, and that'll be a whole nother video to go. That comes with a whole lot more. That is cancer of the blood, and yeah. So, yeah. You know, like, I guess what I have to say is, if you are diagnosed and you are young like me, you're 21, it rocked your world, like, just don't push people away. Like, let people be involved, let people be there for you. I know, like me, like, I've always been very independent and strong, and, like, I didn't want the sympathy from people, but it hurt me more than helped me, like, keeping people away. So, and then just, like, also be your own advocate. Like, if you strongly don't want to do this type of treatment, don't do it. Like, you pray about it. Like, if you're not religious, whatever, like, you make your decisions. Like, you have to these days, like, because doctors want to do pretty much, like, the easiest thing, the standard of care. Like, you have to do, each person is different, so you do what's best for you. And yeah, that's kind of the story of my ovarian cancer journey. And so, yeah. See you later, guys. I think also what, like, made me so, like, depressed was the fact that I had these huge dreams of, like, going to med school and becoming, like, this amazing person and getting treatment and all that. It ruined it for me. Like, it pushed me back. By the time I was done with treatment, I was like, I'm too old. Like, everybody else is already in med school with their degree. You know, they've taken the MCAT. I'm like, there's no way that I can do this. Like, and so I'm like, it ruined it for me. I was over it. I wanted nothing to do with it. And it was just really hard. Like, it was probably one of the hardest things that I've ever experienced, like, firsthand. You know, my pappy, he had colon cancer, and I watched him battle it for 10 years. And, you know, he never really once complained, ever. And so I was like, you know, if I'm going to fight it, like, I'm going to be as graceful as possible. And so it was funny, like, the remarks that I would get, like, oh, you don't look sick at all, like, you know, you look like you're fine, you're healthy. And I'm like, yeah, my body would tell you otherwise. Like, you know, I am sick, I have cancer, and, you know, so I just tried to, like, keep my life going. You know, I got married, tried to move on with that. And then, like, once I got better, I was like, okay, well, I still want to do something in the medical field. That's all I ever did, was, like, work in the medical field. And so that's what led me to go to nursing school. And I want to be a nurse practitioner. I'm level 3 now of nursing school. And, yeah, so this level, one more level for critical care. And then I want to be a nurse practitioner and do pediatric oncology. So God has a plan for everything. And that's why I say, don't plan your life out. Don't be like, I want to get married by the time I'm 23. I want to have kids by the time I'm 27. It doesn't work like that. Like, you're setting yourself up for failure to plan your life like that. I'm not saying don't have goals and dreams. Absolutely do. Like, I'm all about education. I'm all about, like, just being the best person, the best version of yourself. And that's what I'm trying to do now. I obviously have a lot more story to tell. We made it from 2014 to 2016, and it's 2020. So there's a lot more coming, so stick around. Especially if you're looking for the lymphoma videos, because I have them all, and I did document a lot of that journey. And so, yeah, I hope you stick around, and just know, like, if you have any questions, I am here. No judgment, like, whatever treatment you decide, whatever, like, everyone's always going to have their own opinions, so it's best to, you know, make your own decisions and get people's points of view. Like, what do you think is best? Like, obviously we're not doctors, but we've been through it. So if you want to know the signs, the symptoms, the effects of treatment, like, hit me up. I'm here. I'm in your corner. It's hard. Keep fighting. Don't give up. You're gonna have your days. You're gonna feel like shit. You're gonna feel like the world's against you. Like, people are like, I'm so sorry. Like, I know there's nothing I can say. Like, I get it. Like, I've been by your side. Like, no, you don't get it. Like, you don't know what it feels like. And as graceful as I want to be about it, like, you're never gonna know, because I want to be, like, I didn't want to be, like, a burden to anybody. And so I tried not to complain. Me and God had a lot of talks. But yeah, it's got me to where I am today. Like, the little things that broke me along the way are why I'm here today and as strong as a person I am. Like, I feel like I am a very strong person. Yes, things bother me. My friend told me the other day, like, I don't know why you act like you're this boss-ass bitch when things actually do bother you. I don't know. I guess it's like a fake it till you make it type of thing. But yes, things do bother me. I have a very tender heart, and I'm human, just like anybody else. But, you know, I'm here for a reason to tell my story, and it's hard to reflect on the past and look back and be like, oh, I wish I would have done this differently, or I wish I would have, you know, not let everybody's opinion affect me. And you can't change what happened. You could just move on, and you can fight as hard as possible, and you'll make it. Like, you know, just stay strong. Like, have people that are in your corner. You'll know, like, when you get diagnosed with cancer, you'll know who your real friends are. Like, when you stop saying, oh, I can't hang out with you, I can't party anymore, they go away on their own. And let that negativity walk out of your life. You do not need it. And, like, the thing that I wish that I wouldn't have done is, like, been the one begging them to, like, still be my friends after I got better. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I would have just let it, like, walk away out of my life. So, yeah, just, you know, the people who are meant to be in your life will stay. They'll find a way. They'll bring purpose and positivity into your life. And so just let them walk away. Like, that was the hardest thing for me. It's like my friends being like, oh, she doesn't really want to hang out with him anymore. Like, we can't ask her to go to the bar. Like, whatever. She's too sick. Or I was always sick. I always had to say no. Or I was always feeling bad. Like, trust me. They said bye, and it's fine. You know, you're going to have tiffs with your family, like, for people who, especially people who want to be like, oh, she's faking cancer just for attention. She's always a drama queen. You know, pay them no mind, because they're not going through what you're going through, and they haven't. And if they were in your shoes, you would never treat them like that. So, I mean, just don't let it harden your heart. Like, say the person that you are, and kick its ass. Kick its ass. And I'm in your corner. Hit me up. Leave questions below. I think I'm on Instagram on here. Yeah. Just, I'm here for you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye. See you next video. Stick around for the good stuff.